Yeah. All right, I think.
Okay. Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Services of the Temple of Israel. I'm really glad you're here tonight. Please turn down your cell phones if you're using them, and record talking to you on the
All right. Play. Yeah. Okay. All right. I think we're ready. Shabbat Shalom, everyone. It's good to see you all here. Thank you for braving this rainy weather to join us this evening as we bring in Shabbat. I see that we have some visitors here, and I look forward to welcoming you more after our service. But just a little bit about how things typically go here. As you can see, we have a screen over there where all of the prayers that we'll be joining in together will be up there. If you prefer, we have prayer books kind of scattered around the sanctuary. I'll be announcing page numbers also. The benefit of using the prayer book over the slideshow is that in some cases where I can't fit all of the English translations onto the slide with the Hebrew, the prayer book will have the translation, whereas the slideshow might just have the Hebrew and a transliteration, how to read it with English sounds. But it's our custom to join together, whether reading or singing in Hebrew or in English together. So as you're comfortable, we invite you to sing along, read along, and just make this service filled with a good sense of community and togetherness. As we go through our service, I'm going to also invite people to please rise and be seated. And I want to make sure that I say that I'm inviting you to rise either in body or in spirit as you are comfortable. So feel free to, when we come to those parts of the service, do what makes you most comfortable so that this will hopefully, the service will bring us a sense of meaning. And ultimately, our goal is to have a sense of Shabbat peacefulness and holiness. So make sure that everyone can hear me. Pat Cohen says Shabbat Shalom to everybody. So we'll begin our service on page 126. I begin with a prayer of gratitude for all that is holy in my life. God needs no words, no English or Hebrew, no semantics and no services, but I need them. Through prayer, I can sense my inner strength, my inner purpose, my inner joy, my capacity to love. As I reach upward in prayer, I sense these qualities in my Creator. To love God is to love each other, to work to make our lives better. To love God is to love the world God created and to help work to perfect it. To love God is to love dreams of peace and joy that illumine all of us and to bring that vision to life. We'll continue on page 128 with these words from the book of Psalms. Hine matov u'manayim shevet achim gam yachad. How good it is for all of us to be here together. thing that I forgot to put on Zoom real quick. There we go. We're going to continue on page 130 as we join together in the continuing in the book of Psalms, Lechuna Ranana, giving thanks to God for the gift and beauty of creation. Can't see anything. Hold on. I hate contact lenses. Okay. All right. We're going to continue singing together on page 138. We'll join together in singing this poem, Lachadodi. We'll join together in our prayer books on page 138 in verses 1, 2, 5, and 9, and it's as written on the screen. So we'll join together. As we reach the final verse, verse 9, we'll rise to face the entryway to welcome Shabbat like a bride or a queen. Ya la 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 lechadodi. Ya la 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 likrat kala. Ya la 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 b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Shamor v'zachor v'riborecha. Ishmiyanu el hamiuchad. We'll continue singing Shalom Aleichem with our words of welcome to the ministering angels, the angels of peace. May the angels of peace bring us a sense of Shabbat peace on this holy day. Page 142. Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Asharet, Malachei Elyon, Bimelech Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Boachem L'Shalom, Malachei Ashalom, Malachei Elyon, Bimelech Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Baruchuni L'Shalom, Malachei Ashalom, Malachei Elyon, Bimelech Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Seidchem L'Shalom, Malachei Ashalom, Malachei Elyon, Bimelech Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Asharet, Malachei Elyon, Bimelech Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Boachem L'Shalom, Malachei Ashalom, Malachei Elyon, Bimelech Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Baruchuni L'Shalom, Malachei Shalom, Malachei Elyon, Bimelech Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Seidchem L'Shalom, Malachei Ashalom, Malachei Elyon, Bimelech Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Bimelech Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. We'll continue on page 120 as we kindle the Shabbat lights. As these Shabbat candles give light to all who behold them, so may we by our lives give light to all who behold us, as their brightness reminds us of generations of Israel who have kindled light, so may we in our own day be among those who kindle light. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav, mitzivanu, lehadlik ner shel Shabbat. We'll continue on page 144. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah, Be'alma divrach chirutei v'yamlich malchutei, B'chayechon uvyomechon, Uvchaye dechol Beit Yisrael, Bagala, Uvizman kariv, Be'imeru amen. Yehi shmei Rabbah mevorach, Le'alam ulam me'almaya, Yitbarach ve'yishtabach, V'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh, V'yitadar v'yitalev v'yitalal, Shemei de kedusha brichu, Leila min kol birchata v'shirata, Tushbechata v'nechemata, Tamiran be'alma, Ve'imeru, Amen. We'll rise for our call to prayer on page 146. Please be seated. Continue on page 148. Roll into dark, roll into light. Night becomes day, day turns to night. Roll into dark, roll into light. Night becomes day, day turns to night. Boreyom malayla, golel or mipnei choshech, golel or mipnei choshech, bechoshech mipnei or. Roll into dark, roll into light. Night becomes day, day turns to night. Roll into dark, roll into light. Night becomes day, day turns to night. Boreyom malayla, golel or mipnei choshech, golel or mipnei choshech, bechoshech mipnei or. On page 151 at the bottom. Wisdom and wonder, passion and instruction, story and symbol, all these things your Torah gives to us, and the more we devote ourselves to it, the more it grows and gives. What could be a truer token of your abiding love than this holiest of your works and the living language that gives it form? Baruch atah Adonai, Ohev Amo Yisrael. We'll rise together for Shema on page 152 and 153. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. 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 Baruch Shem Kivod Malchuto, Leolam Va'ed. Baruch Shem Kivod Malchuto, Leolam Va'ed. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. Please be seated. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levavcha u'b'chol nafshecha u'b'chol meodecha b'hayu ha'devarim ha'ele asher anochi mitzavecha hayom alevavecha v'shinantam levanecha v'dibarta bam b'shivtecha b'veitecha u'v'lechtecha v'derech u'v'shochbecha u'v'kumecha u'kshartam leod al yadecha v'hayu letotafot b'neinecha u'chtavtam al mezuzot beitecha u'visharecha leman tizkeru v'asitem et kol mitzvotai v'hitem kedoshim le'elohechem ani Adonai Elohechem asher hotzeiti etchem me'eretz Mitzrayim lihiot lachem le'elohim ani Adonai Elohechem. We'll continue on the top of page 157. Standing on the parted shores of history, we still believe what we were taught before ever we stood at Sinai's foot, that wherever we go, it is eternally Egypt, that there is a better place, a promised land, that the winding way to that promise passes through the wilderness, that there is no way to get from here to there except by joining hands, marching together. Continue with Micha Mocha on page 158, our prayer for freedom and redemption. Continue with Hashkivenu on page 160, asking for God's sheltering presence to be upon us this evening and every evening. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu Shalom, V'hamidenu Shomreinu, We'll continue with our tefillah, beginning on page 164 and continuing on even-numbered pages. I'll invite everyone to please rise. Adonai sifatai tiftachu fi agid tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu v'Elohei avotenu v'imotenu, Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzchak, v'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, v'Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, V'Konei Hakol, V'Zocher Chastei Avot V'Imahot, U'Mevi Geula Livnei V'neihem, Lema'an Shemo Be'ahava, Melech Ozer U'Moshia U'Magen, Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham Be'ezrat Sarah. Atah Gibor Le'olam Adonai, Mechaye HaKol atah Rav Lehoshia. Mechalkel Chaim Bechesed, Mechaye HaKol Berachamim Rabim. Somech Noflim Verofech Olim, Umatir Asurim, Umekayem Emunato, Lishenei Afar, Michamocha Baal Gevurot, Umido Melach, Melech Memit, Umechaye, Umatmiach Yeshua, B'ne'eman atah lehachayot hakol, Baruch atah Adonai, Mechaye hakol. Please be seated. Yanayim Zacha Mekom Chanala Nelam Vanalo Emsacha Kevorcha Malei Olam Yanayim Zacha Mekom Chanala Nelam Vanalo Emsacha Kevorcha Malei Olam Darashti Kirvatcha V'chol libi kiraticha Utzeti likratcha Lekrati metzaticha Yai, yai, la, 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 yai, la, 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 yai, la, la, ya, la, 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 yai, la, 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 yai, la, la, yai, la, la, yai, la, 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 Yanayim Zacha Mekom Chanala Nelam Vanalo Emsacha Kevodcha Malei Olam. Where might I go to find you, O exalted and hidden one? Yet where would I not go to find you, ever-present, eternal one? My heart cries out to you, please draw near to me. The moment I reach out for you, I find you reaching in for me. Baruch atah Adonai Ha'el HaKadosh. We'll continue on page 173 at the top. May these hours of rest and renewal open our hearts to joy and our minds to truth. May all who struggle find rest on this day. May all who suffer find solace. May all who hurt find healing on this day. May all who despair find purpose. May all who hunger find fulfillment on this day, and may this day fulfill its promise. Baruch atah Adonai Mekadesh HaShabbat. And on page 175 at the bottom, you are with us in our prayer, our love and our doubt, and our longing to feel your presence and do your will. You are the still, clear voice within us. Therefore, O God, when doubt troubles us, when anxiety makes us tremble, when pain clouds the mind, we look inward for the answer to our prayers. There may we find you, and there find courage, insight, and endurance. And let our worship bring us closer to one another, that all Israel and all who seek you may find new strength for your service. Baruch atah Adonai, she'odcha levadcha b'yira na'avod. We'll continue on page 177 at the top. God of goodness, we give thanks for the gift of life, wonder beyond words, for the awareness of soul, our light within, for the world around us so filled with beauty, for the richness of the earth which day by day sustains us. For all these and more we offer thanks. Baruch atah Adonai, hatov shimcha ulecha na'eh lehodot. We'll continue with our prayer for peace, Shalom Rav, on page 178. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Chasim Leolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Chasim Leolam. Ki ata Melech Adon Lechol HaShalom. Ki ata Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Tasim Leolam. Tasim Leolam. We'll take a moment for our own quiet thoughts and prayers. Yehiyu leratzon Imre fi, Behegyo libi lefanecha, Adonai tzuri, Adonai tzuri, begoali, yehiyu leratzon, imre fi, behegyo libi lefanecha, Adonai tzuri, Adonai tzuri, begoali, begoali. We take a few moments in our service now to hold our loved ones, our congregational family members and friends in our hearts who are in need of a prayer of healing. If you have a loved one or someone who you're thinking of at this time and you'd like to share their name as we're about to sing this prayer of healing together, and you're on Zoom, if you'd like to write their names in the chat, I'll read their names aloud in a moment. And as I look your way in the sanctuary, if you'd like to share someone's name, please do. Esther Greenwald, Lauren Trichek, Roz Gabel, Danny Haynes, and Laura Smith-Rose. We say together, Baruch atah Adonai Rofeh HaCholim, blessed is God who brings healing to those who are in need of healing. We'll turn to page 371 as we join together in Misha Berach. Misha Berach Avotenu Mekor HaBracha Leimotenu. May the source of strength, who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Mishe Berach Imotenu Mekor HaBracha Le'avotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen. Shabbat Shalom, everyone. Seeing as we've had so much rain of late, which is I think, a good thing, considering I think we were almost in drought conditions before the last couple of weeks. I was reminded of a story, an anecdote of when I was applying for rabbinical school. There are many urban legends. If anyone here is thinking about applying to rabbinical school, there are many urban legends about the process that are just not true. One of them is that prospective students, when they are invited to go to an interview on campus, will be given a glass of water. And the story goes that when the professors who are interviewing you put the glass in front of you, they are paying attention to whether or not you recite a blessing over that water before you drink it. That doesn't happen. They do give you water. They are not judging you on whether or not you say a blessing over the water. But just in case, when I was in this position, which I guess now is 15 years ago, I prepared myself and made sure that I knew the blessing that you're technically supposed to recite in Jewish tradition over drinking water. The blessing goes, Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam shehachol nihiyeh bidvaro, which means, blessed are you, Adonai, our God, sovereign of the universe, by whose word all things have come to be. In this week's Torah portion, Parshat Chukat, the Israelites arrive as a group in the wilderness in a place called Zin, and it's the first new moon, and the people were staying in that area. And there is a sad moment that happens. Miriam, who is Moses' sister, and who happens to be the person that Jewish tradition in rabbinic commentary identifies as the keeper of the water, she dies. And the community, at that moment, loses their water source. The community was without water, and they joined against Moses and Aaron, and the people fought with Moses, saying, if only we had perished when our brothers perished at the instance of Adonai. Why have you brought Adonai's congregation into the wilderness for us and our beasts to die here? Why did you make us leave Egypt to bring us to this wretched place, a place with no figs or grain or vines or pomegranates? There isn't even water to drink. So being a leader in Moses and Aaron, and also in Miriam's case, in the Torah for sure, was a thankless job. Moses and Aaron have just lost their sister, Miriam, and the very next thing that happens is that the people become an angry mob and threaten them because of the one thing in this moment that they are missing. In our tradition, gratitude is something that the Israelites of the Hebrew Bible could learn to use a little bit better. You would be hard-pressed in most instances in the Torah, especially as the people are wandering in the desert, to find them not described as a stiff-necked people, as people who are unable to see the things that are right in front of them and being grateful for them. Instead, the refrain that there aren't this or that, there aren't certain kinds of food, isn't water in front of us, happens multiple times, and it just so happens to be linked in this case to the death of Miriam, the loss of water, and the additional complaints which were all thrust upon Moses and Aaron. In Jewish tradition, there is a kind of philosophy, a science of thinking called Musar. Some people like to think of this as like Jewish self-help, or a guide to thinking critically about human behavior, which was actually founded by the great sage of American history, Benjamin Franklin. The rabbis actually in Eastern Europe somehow got a hold of Ben Franklin's autobiography, and even though it is a system of ethical behavior guidelines, lifted this material and used it for their own without citing their sources. So Musar, this kind of Jewish ethical thought, teaches us in depth about the trait of gratitude, and about how gratitude in Jewish tradition it actually comes in the phrase hakarat hatov in Hebrew, which means recognizing the good, the things that are right in front of you. So just as in most ways that we think about human behavior, there are things, there is a balancing to all human behavior. That's what the rabbis of the Musar tradition believed, and that it's necessary for all of us on the spectrum of gratitude. What does it mean to be grateful? We need to find our center place, the point at which we're not wearing overly rosy colored glasses, but we're also in the moment and able to experience things fully in a way that we appreciate what's good that's in front of us. It is all too often the condition, as I said before, in the wilderness stories that the people become so focused on what they don't have and attacking their leaders for what they don't have that we very rarely see points of satisfaction or even blessings for that matter. In the world that we live in today, there really is no limit when we think about all of the ads that we see on TV, when we see all of the troubling news that we are fed constantly in our news cycles. These experiences lead us to believe that we are without all the time, that there are things that we need, that there's something that we need to buy, that something that somebody needs to sell us that will, if only we had that, it would make our lives better. But this concept of hakarat hatov, of recognizing the good that's right in front of you, is emphasized in an ancient text called Pirkei Avot, the Ethics of the Fathers, which asks the question, who is rich? And the answer that the rabbis give in this context is the one who rejoices in what they have, the things that are right in front of them. Rabbi Yisrael Salanter, who happens to be the father of this Musar movement, of this science of ethical behavior, there's a famous anecdote about him, and specifically about water, that I thought was interesting to share that I would like to conclude with. He said that once he was sitting at a fancy restaurant in Paris, and he was charged a huge price for a cup of coffee. He approached the owner after drinking his coffee and asked why the coffee was so expensive. After all, it's just some hot water and some coffee beans and a spoonful of sugar. That can't amount to more than a few cents. The owner replied, sure, you're right. It would be only a few cents if you could have coffee in your own home, but here in the restaurant we provide exquisite decor, soft background music, professional waiters, and the finest china to serve your cup of coffee in. Upon hearing this, Rabbi Salanter's face lit up. Thank you very much, he said. I now understand the reason why we say the blessing, blessed are you, Adonai, our God, sovereign of the universe, by whose word all things came to be, which is the blessing we recite when we drink water. You see, until now, when I recited this blessing, I had in mind only that I am thanking the Creator for the water that God created. But now I understand the blessing much better. All includes not merely the water, but the fresh air that we breathe while drinking the water, the beautiful world around us, the music of the birds that entertain us and exalt our spirits, each with its different voice, the charming flowers with their splendid colors and marvelous hues, the fresh breeze. For all this we have to thank God when we drink water. So I want to end there, and I do this sometimes with my religious school students on Sunday mornings. I ask them if there's something that you are grateful for, that you would like to share. You should share it, because gratitude is something that builds. When we share what we are grateful for, it leads to joy in our community. So does anyone have something that they're grateful for that they want to share? And I will say, the kids are great about sharing. So you guys kind of, yeah.
I'm grateful for my supportive family and friends. They've all really come through the past few weeks. I'm grateful that I'm actually going to retire.
Wow, that's exciting.
It's very exciting to be at this point in my life where I can do that. It's great.
Awesome.
Grateful for, I've been trying to take better steps of taking care of my physical health lately and feel like I've found some stuff that actually works, so that I'm happy to found
I am grateful that on Sunday I get to go serve as faculty at Camp Coleman, which is the Union for Reform Judaism's camp in Georgia. And we have, I think, 5 students from the temple who are going to be there. And it's my first summer working there, but I'm really grateful for that opportunity coming up. Yeah, I'm super excited. I don't have any idea what I'm going to do when I get there, but I'm really excited about it. Anyone else have something they want to share? Yeah.
I'm grateful that I'm here in Greenville, where my grandchildren are.
Yeah.
So getting to see them every day.
That's awesome. And welcome to Greenville. That's very cool. Well, we can continue this conversation after services, but I think that it's awesome that you shared, and Mazel Tov, and we are going to continue our service with Aleinu as we rise and turn to page 586. Aleinu l'shameach l'adon hakol, l'atei gedula liotzer breshit, shelo asanu kigoyei haratzot, velo samanu kemishpachot adama, shelo sam chelkenu kahem, v'gor aleinu kechol hamonam, v'anachnu korim, u'mishtachavim u'modim, lifnei melech malchei hamlachim, hakadosh baruch hu. Please be seated. We'll continue on page 591. May we gain wisdom in our lives, overflowing like a river with understanding, loved each of us for the peace we bring to others. May our deeds exceed our speech, and may we never lift up our hand but to conquer fear and doubt and despair. Rise up like the sun, O God, over all humanity. Cause light to go forth over all the lands between the seas, and light up the universe with the joy of wholeness, of freedom, and of peace. V'ne'emar v'haya Adonai lemelech al kol haaretz bayom hahu yeh Adonai echad u'shemo echad. We devote the next few moments of our service to honor the memories of our loved ones who've come before us. We hold those in our hearts for whom this Shabbat and the previous week are a yahrzeit or an anniversary of their passing. Max Freilich, Edith Jacobs Geisberg, Ernestine Sussman Goldman, Judith Smith, Hyman Lender, Harry Mendelson, Fanny Rayner, Millard B. Ulmer, Harry D. Weinstein, Isidore Reiter, and Joseph Shapiro. If there are loved ones you're holding in your hearts in loving memory and you'd like to say their name before we recite Mourner's Kaddish and you're on Zoom, please type their name in the chat and I'll read them aloud in a moment. And as I look your way, if there's someone you're thinking of, please, yes. Gail Rose Carmack. We say, Zichronam livracha, may the memories of our loved ones forever be a blessing. We'll turn to page 598 as we rise for Mourner's Kaddish. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei rabbah, be'alma divra chirutei v'yamlich malchutei, b'chayechon uvyomechon, uvchaye dechol Beit Yisrael, ba'agala uvizman kari v'imru amen. Yehei shmei rabba mivarach le'olam u'omei almaya, yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh, v'yithadar v'yitale v'yithalal shmei de kedusha b'richu, le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbachata v'nechemata, da'amiran be'alma v'imru amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chaim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom bimromav, hu yaseh shalom, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. May the one who creates peace in the heavens on high bring peace to us here on earth, to all people of Israel and all people of the world. And may God send comfort to all those who are mourning. Together we say, Amen. Please be seated. Laura, as an appendix to the little Devar Torah, Laura Becker says she's grateful for friends and family and the beauty of nature. And Pat Cohen says, I'm very grateful to be here with everyone and able to celebrate Shabbat. And she had, after last week's car accident on Shabbat, and I'm most grateful for my TOI family and for the love and support always. Thanks for sharing. We're going to, well, we have one announcement. There will be more announcements when I get back from camp, but for right now, the one announcement that we have is Laura and the choir are looking to invite new members to the choir for this coming year. We have several young people who have just joined, and so we thought it was a good time to do a kind of general congregational outreach for the choir. The only necessity is the ability to carry a tune and a willingness to learn new music. And we have a lot of fun together. There's snacks and food and good times at rehearsals. Typically, rehearsals are on Sunday when there's not religious school Sunday morning, and when there is religious school Sunday afternoon. If you are interested, you should contact our choir director Laura Becker, and her email is should be on our website and in the e-news. And Pat wants everyone to know that we're going to resume onegs next week. All right. So we're going to join together in singing Kiddush and blessing our children and Motzi. But again, I don't see any little kids here, and I happen to have four things of grape juice. If anyone wants to join me on the bima for grape juice, you are welcome. If not, we'll just...
I'll take for grape.
Yeah, come on. Yeah. Well, we don't have the person who is doing oneg this evening is not here, so
Oh, no.
it's okay. It's okay.
Let us know, we can help you out. Yeah.
So we'll join together for Kiddush. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen. L'chaim. If you want to go sit down, you can. For all of our congregation's children, whether we are holding them in our hearts or if you're on Zoom, I can't see right now, but we say these words of blessing on Shabbat for our kids. Yisimcha Elohim ke'Ephraim v'chi Menashe. May you be blessed like the children of Joseph, Ephraim, and Menashe. Yisimecha Elohim ke'Sarah, Rivka, Rachel, v'Leah. May you be blessed like the mothers of our people, like Sarah, Rebecca, Rachel, and Leah. For all of our children, we wish for them to be proud of who they are and always strive to be the best version of themselves. With these words of blessing from Torah. Yevarechecha Adonai v'yishmerecha. May God bless you and keep you. Ya'er Adonai panav elecha v'chuneka. May God's light shine on you and be gracious to you. Yisa Adonai panav elecha v'yasem lecha shalom. May God's presence always feel close to you, and may you always be blessed with the most important gifts of wholeness and peace. Amen. And for those of you on Zoom who have challah, Pat, do you have challah? Do you have something to say motzi over? No. Does anyone have challah or anything to say motzi over? No.
Cookies in the other room, I pulled them out of the freezer.
Ooh, okay. All right. So we can say motzi and then we'll have a frozen cookie.
Microwave, so they're warmish now.
All right. Well, a microwaved frozen cookie. Hamotzi lechem min haaretz. We give thanks to God for bread. Our voices rise in song together as our joyful prayer is said. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Amen. We have one concluding song, and then we can go next door if you'd like for a cookie. We'll sing a prayer for peace, Oseh Shalom. Shabbat Shalom, everyone. I'm grateful that you are all here. We can join together next door if you'd like for a cookie. Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom on Zoom. I'm going to stop the sharing and